It says we're live. So, welcome from the crossroads of America. A 1-hour talk show, shooting with disabilities, guns, politics, or anything else that crosses our mind, really. But we'll answer questions from the audience. Just put them in the chat or email me at rickslife, as I see it, at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I got a Patreon page and a PayPal thing. It's all down there in the information section or whatever section you call that. It's all down there. The links are down there. All right. Welcome, everybody. Let me see who was. Gun Loving Grandpa was here first. Then Patriot in the Dark, Guns and Barbecue, Vanessa Kitty. Who else we got here? John Brown Productions, Jason Stewart, Sabrina's here so far.
You've got mail.
Good to see you all. And what you call it? The oh hell, hang on. I lost my page. Here it is. Okay. All right. And my panel, I've got up here in the corner is a New York Outcast. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody.
No problem. Then we got the one and only Squibload.
Yeah.
Good to see you. And sitting right next to him at the table here is Patriot in the Dark.
You don't have me sitting next to Squib, do you?
Yeah, that's how it's looking.
Hello, everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
Rick. Hi, Sabrina.
All right, then we got Guns and Barbecue. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. So is this natural selection where you set the blind guys next to each other then? Or random?
It's just random. It's what the program's doing. You know,
Yep.
I mean, if you drop out, it'll put you in a new position when you come back in.
Yeah, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
All right, then we got the one and only Kingpin.
Hey, what's happening, Rick? Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. Then we got this long lost guy. Haven't seen him in months in here, John Z.
Good morning, everybody.
All right.
Hey, a little John Z is better than no John Z at all.
Yeah, hell, I can't. You've been gone so long, I can't even really remember the name of your channel.
The John Z Project.
That's it, the John Z Project. That's right. See, you've been gone so long, I even forgot that. You know,
It's been projected. I'd show up eventually.
Yeah. Oh, we got Night Strike in the chat now. Southpaw RX is here. They're all willed and well armed. Is here. He was in the chat. He was on the panel. He was here for a second, then he disappeared. So maybe he's having connection issues. So, anyway. All right. I got topics. I got my thing out there for questions to be sent to me. I got a couple of responses, so we got a few questions we can use, you know. So, I'm trying to think here. Which one should we start with? Let me have a look. Here's one for the everybody. How has our disability affected our EDC? Any concerns we have with our EDC? Well, I'll start that off. Everybody knows with my back, my hips, my arthritis, mainly my arthritis now, is that I've had to drop down to a lower caliber gun to help with the recoil because it hurts my hand, you know. I mean, not so much. If I was, God help me, if I was ever in a situation where I had to use it, yes, I mean, for the 1 or 2 shots that because I used to carry a 45, yes, I could do it, you know, but practicing with the 45 is where it really hurt. You know, I could do it then, you know, within an hour of shooting, you know, just for a little, you know, my hands would be so hurting so bad I couldn't hardly hold a coffee cup. They hurt that bad. So, I mean, that's how it's affected me, and I'm hoping that it doesn't. I'm hoping it doesn't get any worse, but you never know. You know, I mean, that's the only concern I have with that is, will it get any worse? And the other concern I have, not so much concern, is, well, I don't want. That's why I'm trying to. One of the reasons I'm trying to lose weight is to make ease off my back, better for my health, you know, and everything else. Because I don't want to get to the point where I got a feeling. I don't know. Well, I'm an old guy. I'm 63 now. Oh my God, I'm 63. Jesus Christ. But maybe in another 15 years or so, maybe I won't be able to walk. I've got my scooter, you know, and that's another concern of mine. I mean, then I would have to change. I mean, when I was using that, I still carried my 45. I would ride around with one. It had armrests that would move up and down. So on the side of my gun, I would just lift the armrest up before I was able to access it. So that's what I was doing. So guns and barbecue, that was one of your questions. So what about you?
Well, first off, I'd like to say for the scooter, could I recommend we get you a nice scabbard and mare's leg? I think that'd be kind of neat. But as far as my EDC, it didn't so much change my firearm as it did how I carry. I was pretty much exclusively open carry. I very rarely conceal. Then after the vision loss and whatnot, I didn't feel that I had the situational awareness that I would want to have to continue to open carry. So there for a while, I didn't carry at all. And then I started finding different methods for concealed carry. I was experimenting with fanny packs, different concealed carry vests, just longer shirts and things like that to put over the gun. But I never liked wearing two shirts. I overheat, but I never liked having the gun up against my skin either. I always liked to have my shirt tucked in when I was carrying, so I wasn't finding a happy medium. Then when I got into the concealed carry vest, that was a nice option, but there's a couple things I don't like about that. But with the concealed carry vest, it was also longer, so I could actually use that to conceal the gun still. So as far as, like I said, the gun went, it didn't change. It was just how I was going about carrying in general did.
All right. Okay. John Z. I mean, I know you used to got living there in New York City. It's hard for you to do anything, but have you thought about it? I mean, because you have back issues as well and stuff like that, don't you? When you finally leave New York?
Well, so my friend just got a very nice firearm, his first firearm. And he went straight to like the upper echelon of firearms. And I'm thinking that I might go with what he got, because if you have the proper belt, it really doesn't matter anything else. The belt is your support. If you have a good belt, whether you're carrying a pocket gun or whether you're carrying a full-size gun or a mid-size firearm, if you have a good support for it, which is your belt, you could pretty much carry anything. Now, obviously, depending on the time of the year, if it's too cold or too hot, you could undo a little or do more. But really, it really doesn't matter. As long as you're in a free state and you're not living under a communist or Nazi regime, it's pretty much anything goes.
Yeah. Now, I agree with you on the belt there. I mean, like when I was carrying my 45, carrying it wasn't a problem. because I've got about 6 gun belts, and they're all roughly the same. I mean,
Right.
like on my jeans, my waist would be still. It would be like my jeans would be on a pile on the floor, but the waist would still be showing because the belt's so stiff. It's holding the jeans in a circle.
Well, also depending on if you're carrying a 45 or 90 degree, if you pancake style holster, whatever it is you're carrying, however you're carrying, whether it's at the 2 o'clock position, 3, 4, 5 o'clock position, they have shirts for everything. They have shirts for concealment, just the way the shirt is cut and the way it's buttoned and the way you're able to lift it up, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, to relieve your shirt of the firearm area in order for you to pull it. There's pretty much anything and everything you could think of to really make it simple. But again, it depends on what you want, what you need, and the money you're willing to spend on possibly changing your wardrobe if you feel there's something you need to change.
Mm-hmm. You're right there. Real quick, before we move on to the next guy, but there's a question in the chat here, and I never seen him before, so welcome, the optimistic, smiling cynic. He goes, "Hey, you all, this might be for you and Guns and Barbecue."
Yeah, I'm glad he showed up.
Hey, you all, do you have any tips for approaching trainers about getting training while legally blind? I'm based in California, and I have how you pronounce it? I can't even pronounce the words. Retinitis pigmentosa?
Retinitis pigmentosa.
That's it. So going completely blind is in the cards. So, Patriot, trainers, have you approached any? Or have you done everything on your own?
No, I didn't start carrying until after I went blind. So everything I've done, for the most part, I did stuff obviously younger or whatever. But my biggest suggestion with that is be persistent. I called them on the phone. Back when I was doing it, there was none of this other issues going on. But calling and talking to them, find out as much information you can about the classes, about what you're carrying, just so that when you talk to them, they can understand kind of where you're coming from. And if that also works with the gun shops, calling and talking to, somebody that works there. Because if you talk about a firearm and, I didn't bring up that I was blind. And so I got kind of in the door so that they felt comfortable talking to me. When I show up, it's like, oh, wow, or whatever. With trainers, the same thing. Some people are going to be jerks, and you just got to roll with it, let it, and just keep going. Because there's a lot of people, and even if you don't start with a trainer, visiting the range, that kind of thing, you can always find people, if you talk to people. The biggest thing with vision and stuff is obviously there's a lot of people out there that never come in contact with, somebody visually impaired, on top of somebody that actually wants to, exercise their rights and shoot and all that stuff. So definitely just don't get discouraged. You just got to keep asking. And also now, depending on where you live, there is a network out here of people that have done it and are going through things and have found out things, and a lot of people in all different states. And so once you just keep searching and, now, knowing where you're at, I might be able to send some information to you or something. But definitely ask the questions and talk to everybody. And when you get somebody that's old or a jerk or young and doesn't know what he's talking about, just keep going, because there's plenty of shops. I went through 3 shops before I found one that everybody I'm comfortable with now, but the first shop that was totally cool. That's kind of my favorite shop now. And so I would rather spend, the extra money there than go to the, some of the ones that are closer, just for that reason. Because, and that has changed too in my area, because when I first started looking for trainers, just basic classes, I was getting the cold shoulder a lot, and this was just 5, 6, 7 years ago. And since then, a lot of things have changed, and I don't know if it's just I'm persistent or what, but you can always find them. There's a lot of us out here.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky that the instructor I had, the reason I picked her was because I read a few reviews where people who had, unfortunately, the ones I read, they weren't visually impaired, but they were like in wheelchairs. They had a disability of some sort. She had no problem, teaching them.
The other thing I should add is, don't get discouraged and get defensive, because everybody's going to have questions, right? Even when I came out here talking to everybody, everybody's got questions. That's why we're here. And so if you come up to a trainer that... The other thing I should add is, don't get discouraged. That's not me. Get defensive. Because everybody's going to have questions, right? Even when I... Am I doing talking twice, or is that just in my headphones?
It's here.
No, Wielding Well Armed has got his YouTube feed playing.
Oh, okay. It's like, wait a minute. Wait, that sounds like me.
Oh, yeah, he's joined us in the room here. I didn't even see him sneak in.
Yeah. But if you get, somebody that'll talk to you, don't get defensive if they ask questions, because everyone's going to have questions. Explain, and get kind of a game plan so that you can say, hey, I know that, maybe I don't see this, or, kind of talk them through it, because you got to ease people into it. Don't just say, oh, well, I'm blind. Oh, you don't want to do it, and walk off. You'll know, if people are kind of receptive to it or not. And that's another big thing, don't get defensive about it, because, you can't. It's just something that happens. Some people can understand and say, hey, that is actually a really good thing to do. And then you got people just like, that talk to any of us that, oh, guns are bad and you shouldn't do that, but definitely just talk, I guess.
All right. Guns and barbecue. You have sight issues.
Yes. I haven't taken any trainings yet since I lost my vision. Obviously, I'm in a bit of a different boat than Patriot as well, being as I've still got, some remaining. But much like optimistic, smiling pessimist, I'm in his same boat too, where I'm at risk to lose everything. But fingers crossed. Anyways, I can't help but echo everything that Patriot said. I've been actually batting this back and forth off the wall for myself about places one could go to even try and do some trainings, because there's just not that much offered in my area, at least that I would already know about. I honestly only know of 2 or 3 places that do any training at all around my area, so I'm already limited there. But the one guy I'm familiar with, and I think I could probably go to him. And one of the things I was actually thinking about is, if I go there and everything goes well, maybe even trying to set up something through him to get more disabled shooters, training in general. But like Patriot said, don't get discouraged. Also, Patriot, have you heard of Kerry McWilliams?
Yeah, I talked to him. He's in the email list. Yeah. Yep, I know him.
Do you have any idea if either of his books, Guide Dogs and Guns, I'm not sure what the second one is, touch base on this at all? Because I'm currently looking for the audio versions, and I haven't gotten to listen to them yet. I wasn't sure if you did.
Yeah, I think one of them is out of print. I may be wrong. I'll talk with him and I'll put that out. I know that I think the Library of Congress. I mean, you can get some of the audiobooks through them too. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's got a lot of good information.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he touched base on the training aspect at all, because G-Webs was drawing him the other night on Daily Gun Show, and he actually played an interview that he had with him, and I believe he said that Minnesota, which I believe is his home state, had actually gotten rid of their shooting qualification or whatnot for the concealed carry permits because of him. I wasn't 100% understanding there, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's done a lot. He's got stuff from all over. I don't know as far as the legal stuff, because I know there was stuff going on that, you know, you get those sheriffs or whatever, they're jerks. But yeah, I think he's in the Dakotas. We email all the time. I don't know. So sorry about that. If you're listening out there, Kerry,
throw him out there for
there's
optimists there, and just as another option.
One of the other things, just to throw it in real quick, is, I mean, just like anybody here, anybody that wants training, you got your local state groups. A lot of them will list, you know, trainers and people and what they do. Like here we got, I always mess the name up, but it's the Michigan Coalition of Responsible Gun Owners. They have on their page, you know, lists of trainers that, you know, are registered through them, and, you know, they suggest, I think. Anyways, that's how I ended up finding the guy I went through. But it was just like that, you know, they'll have, you know, some people can, you know, I don't know what, depending on the state, you can do your own training from your house as long as you're certified, I guess. I don't know how other states do it, but definitely that's another way of finding the list, and, you know, just talk to people.
Yeah. All right, real quick, John Z's next, but I just want to say hello to Wilden Well Armed. He just joined us on the panel. We'll get to you in a minute. So John Z raised his hand. He wanted to talk. Go for it.
I just want to ask, Rick, at the bottom of your page, but you know where the videos are at the bottom, do you have a list of everything Patriot and all the rest of it the guys are talking about, with all the information? Because that is a wealth of information. I mean,
oh, you mean, do I add links or stuff down there in my information section?
With these people's names that they're discussing and all that, and the organizations they're connected with? Because every chat you have with Patriot and the rest of the guys here who are in more challenging situations than you and I, they're a wealth of information for people. And I think that should be recorded somewhere, whether it's at the bottom of the page or a separate link to a shareable Word document or something, or a Google document. Is anybody keeping track of this stuff? Because this is literally a wealth of information.
I'm not, and that's my bad.
Yeah.
You know.
And this link, if you do like a shareable Google document or a shareable Word document, these links could be at the bottom of any of the pages. Patriot does videos all the time. I enjoy watching him. But if the link is at the bottom of all these pages of people we know, then we could direct people to Patriot's page, your page, and so on, and everybody else's page down here that I guess new people who are not as familiar, introducing them into the community so they can get these links and these people's names and these books and these organizations. I think we should start keeping track of it somehow.
You're right, and I'm going to, because all I got to do is, I mean, I can put that on the bottom of my info section where I say I have my PayPal info and all that. I can list them all down there, on top of all that, and I can have it put on every video I make. You know, by using TubeBuddy, I can automatically put that on every one. So I'm going to start doing that. So later on, sometime, Patriot, send me an email with what you just talked about, or you barbecue that one guy you were just talking about there, and I'll find a link for him.
Or even like someone record it as it's being mentioned during the chats, and possibly create a shareable document so people can access that link, so they could have all the information there from the past to the current, and possibly add on their own information to it. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a good idea. I'll start working on it. You know, we take a time to go through every goddamn show I've done. I think I've done 150 of them.
Well, no, you don't. I don't think you need to go through all of them. I think just like the main things people have discussed, or people could have send to you or send to Patriot, and like combine all that information into like one document or whatever. I don't know what would be the simplest way, but you know, a central area where all of you can direct people to go to, and you could all have the same link at the bottom of your description page or whatnot.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That is a good idea. We will work on it. I will work on that. All right. Well armed. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Haven't figured out how to put my real logo up here, but got my name up here instead.
Well, that's okay.
You got to start somewhere.
Hey, I wanted to address the subject of how I carry, if that's okay. I use these Sneaky Pete holsters. It's like a small binoculars case, but flatter, and it's made for a pistol. And they've got about 15 different sizes for compact and smaller, anything that's smaller than a Glock 19 and smaller. But they got some that are black leather, some that are that say emergency or say a first aid kit, or I've got one that says battery compartment I put on my wheelchair. And so on the side of my chair, right at the crook of where my knee is, I've got a bolt that I put on this Kydex little strap that's about 6 inches long. And from there, I hang the Sneaky Pete holster like it would be my belt. And I could reach it pretty quick. I mean, you go into Walmart or I've never had anybody question about a Sneaky Pete holster. I've got a leather one, a black leather, a brown leather, and then I've got a blue one that says something like outdoor stuff, or and then a gray one that says battery compartment. But anyway, you can put a lot of different pistols in them, and you can even put your one with a light. I haven't found one that will hold a red dot, but it's a nice little compartment. And anybody, I was thinking about you, Guns to Barbecue, because you can wear it right on your belt, and everybody just say it says first aid kit or whatever you wanted to say.
Yeah, I heard those Sneaky Pete holsters are pretty awesome.
Yeah,
the price range isn't bad. I mean, to get the non-leather ones is about $45, and then leather ones I think are like $55 to $60. But they have them with 2 clips on the side for the bigger ones, and they really stay secure on your hip or your chair.
All right. Oh, on the topic we were just talking about, do you know any organizations or places you can look for instructors who deal with people with disabilities?
No, there's a few people at my range that are in wheelchairs, and we always say, hey, I'll get your phone number. I've got their phone numbers, but we never done anything. We do have a shooting league here in Atlanta called GADPA, Greater Atlanta Pistol. I don't know what it all stands for, but it's GADPA and it's indoors. So you're going from mostly 10 to 15 yards. And what's great about it is they don't have. I'm guessing it would be good for people with sight impairment as well because it's indoors. You don't have to worry about unlevel floors or anything like that. That's going to be a constant. And they're really good about sweeping brass. And so the bad side is, they all finish theirs in 15 seconds and I finish mine in 45 seconds. So I really wish some of those other guys that I meet in the range would show up at the GADPA shows where my time wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. All right. Who we got? Kingpin. Do you know of any instructors and stuff that deal with disability guys? I know you're a normal person, but I like your input.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would imagine that you could probably check with other types of organizations, Special Olympics, different stuff like that, that do other types of outreach for people with certain disabilities. And maybe they could contact somebody that could help you, assuming that they're not going to flip out when you say, hey, I want to go learn how to shoot a gun. But I don't really know.
Okay, no problem. Don't you mind? What about you, New York Outcast?
Not 100% at what extent, but I believe if you're around the New York area, they have a Rochester Personal Defense where they offer a bunch of different classes. And I know they state I'm trying to think how they state it, but people with disabilities are welcomed or whatnot. So I assume that may vary depending on what class and range, or maybe so, but not at Club A because it's not set up. So you'd have to wait till they were at Club B or something. I don't know, but again, that's Rochester Personal Defense. They do a lot of everything from concealed carry to they step up a little more towards home defense and a little bit handcuffing. Let's see. They do a lot, so I can't really state, but they got a big site and everything. So if you're around the New York area, it might be an option.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you who else, believe it or not, I just, while you guys are talking, and I just, believe it or not, the bad NRA, their adaptive shooting page, which they keep up to date, this is what they're good at. They should stay out of the politics and stick with the shooting stuff. But here they've got where a list of by state of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA National Network is a funded organization providing regional specific ADA information and training. So maybe give them a call in California there and see if they got anybody on their books that does that kind of training. Just a thought. So I just wanted to point that out.
Well, couldn't you raise the stink if you went to like any normal person's training and they turned you away because you had a disability? Obviously, picking on Patriot, if a blind guy walks in there and they're not set up for that kind of stuff, then they could say it's a safety issue and they don't do personal training, maybe something like that. But I don't know. I think you'd probably have a decent argument to make that about discrimination if they turn you away.
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, some instructors don't feel they can cope with somebody with a disability, especially with a visually impaired person,
That's kind of why you just talk to them. I mean, you can kind of feel somebody out. I talked to many instructors when I was going for the concealed carry license, which is different. It just depends on what kind of class you want to. Because if you're looking for just a basic home what is that, home safe or home defense whatever that the NRA's got those classes that the instructors just teach the stuff at home. There's a lot of different kind of training, so it's not just concealed carry and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, and more you talk to people, you'll find out what to start off with. You might not want to lead with I don't see very well or whatever, but if you show that you are interested and that you're thinking about it, it's not just something that you're pushing through real fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that if you could find a specialized trainer, a person with, visual impairment that's skilled is probably going to be better at training somebody with visual impairment than a regular sighted person. So I mean,
and there are people like that do travel and stuff. It's just you kind of get out there and start asking the questions and
what I would do, I mean, if I asked an instructor and they said no, they wouldn't do it, I will say, well, do you know anybody that can? They might know another instructor that they can name that said, well, they might do it, But I tell you who we haven't spoken to is Scriptload. You got any input on this subject? Did I catch him at a busy time? Because he's not responding. He's not hitting the mute button. So he could be busy.
Yeah, this is actually a work in progress, and we just didn't even know it. This is the beginning, and we're all here. This is historic. Patriot in the Dark is opening his own training business. It's starting right here, right now.
There you go. All right. There you go, Patriot.
Yeah, there's people that do it.
Now,
you guys want to come to my range? That sounds fine to me.
Yeah. Vanessa Kitty said she has not been turned away from any of the ranges she uses. They let her use all her equipment. Now, Vanessa's in Connecticut, so that's good, because Connecticut is one of those tough states, But then again, I was in Rhode Island also, which is right next door to Connecticut. And the ranges I used, they would let me, especially the club I belonged to, they used to let me drive my truck right up to, if I was shooting 10 yards from the target, I could drive my truck right to the 10-yard line if I wanted to. Long as it wasn't full of people, you know what I'm saying? But I normally went in the mornings, Monday to Friday, and it wasn't a soul down there. So they were good to me that way too at the Rangers. So, and Vanessa Kitty said a good teacher will figure out a way to help train the disabled. Yes, I think they would too. I do. So
yeah, it's just part of a challenge. So
yeah.
One of the things I was going to mention is if there's a trainer that says, hey, I really don't want to do this, I'm not comfortable, you probably don't want to get instruction from them anyways.
Yeah,
you don't want to push somebody like that, threaten them and stuff, because they're not going to train you or they're going to sandbag or something. So it's better to have that conversation and talk to as many people as you can, that you can stand, because sometimes it does get kind of dreary, talking to too many people. But if you get even with the shops, you'll find people that are rude, but that happens to everybody, but if you get to a place where you can talk to them and show that you're interested and you're not just whatever, that people will are kind of accepting, especially in this community.
Are you implying that somebody is only a good instructor if they can teach you how to do something that is a visual skill with no sight?
No.
The times you talk about employing a firearm, you've talked about employing it at point blank range. There's no skill required in that. So I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, first of all, you kind of lost your stuff there, because training, period, is not just concealed carry, is it? Did you receive training besides concealed carry? Yes. I'm not saying that you have to sit here and there's all these different things. There is things, we have requirements here in our state, don't we, that you have to do to get your CPL, right? They don't give a shit if you're going to just shoot point blank range, because that has nothing to do with the test, does it? So you have to understand what the tests are and get training, because you can't just show up and say, hey, I want this, right? You're not saying people are bad instructors because they're doing that. That's why you don't hassle them. That's why you talk to people. But go ahead. Hi, Squib. Boy, I miss that guy.
I thought you did. We all miss Squib. We really do.
You better watch out. I might send him something.
Yeah. Yeah. I lost my train of thought there. I was going to come up with something. I can't remember what it was. But what you mentioned, gun shops. I mean, talk to the people behind the counter. If they're not, if you you like them and they seem to know what they're talking about, they might know instructors who could help you out with what you're doing. I don't know what the requirements are in California.
And it starts off, you have to go to a gun shop before you can purchase a firearm. So you're going to go to a gun shop. If you come across somebody rude that doesn't want to deal with it, you don't deal with them. You find somebody else or a new shop. Because I wouldn't put up with things that are, I don't know, push you that direction.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you got to start off at a gun shop, because you got to go there. Even if you buy one online, you got to have it delivered to an FFL, which is a gun shop, normally. But I did know a guy in Connecticut who had an FFL, and he done it from his house. All he would do would take in, like people who order guns online. He would accept them, do the paperwork, do the check, and give them the gun, and just take the fee for doing the transfer. He was in Connecticut. I don't know if he's still doing it, but that's where he was. So.
Hey, I heard a lot of people get their FFL so they could get full auto machine guns.
Well, yeah, you're right. But that's I mean, in that class 3 FFL, I believe there's different.
Yeah,
there's
that's class 3.
I've got I mean, theoretically, I'm an FFL dealer because I got a CNR license to deal with, hell, I can't even remember what it stands for now. Curio and
Relic
license, So, yeah, but a lot of people will go do that, as you said, to get that, to be able to deal with machine guns. I think, don't you? If you wanted to buy a machine gun, I don't know anybody out there. Maybe Squib knows. As a normal Joe, and you want to buy a machine gun, I know you have to get you have to pay a tax on it or whatever. But you need an FFL to actually own one.
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
That's just a whole lot of money.
I was going to say it's the same as a tax stamp for an SBR or a can or anything else. It's just they're so astronomically expensive. The average everyday Joe isn't going to be able to afford it. And then even if you can't afford it, you can't afford to feed it.
Certain one, yeah, okay, that, yes, you can't afford to feed it. You can, but afford it, yeah, you can afford it. But if you want certain machine guns, yeah, they're going to be in the tens of thousands, possibly $100,000 range, depending how rare they are. But certain machine guns don't cost any more than a car, and anybody can buy a car. So you can buy a machine gun, but that ammo bill will drive you up a wall. Plus, all of the hassle of getting the tax stamp and all the paperwork, and then the extra things that you have to do because now you have it in your home, it just isn't worth it. Most of the people I hear whining and crying about, I want a machine gun, never shot one. It's not a big deal. Sure, they're fun, and they have their purpose. And I don't think it should be illegal to own one or you have to have a tax stamp or any other garbage. But it's overrated. It really is. Go out, rent one, pop your cherry, and move on.
All you really need is a second or third job and a fifth and sixth credit card.
Yeah, I had one I bought in
There are
1988.
$9,000 full automatics out there. $9,000. Used cars cost that much.
I shot a fully automatic down in Florida a couple of years ago at a gun range. I rented it, and it you had the minimum was a box of 50 bullets. I went through it in about 2 seconds, and I said, "Okay, that's good." You know.
There are those out there that seem to think if they have a full auto or select fire gun, that'll make up for the fact that they can't hit the broadside of the barn. They're just going to do spray and pray, and that's why they want their full auto. But I'll never become a marksman because I don't train properly or I don't practice right. Or I know I'll just get full auto and just spray it. You know, dude, that's your right. You want to spend the money? It's your money. Go waste it. But how about just learn how to shoot? They're overrated.
I want a Gatling gun.
Should be able to own them. I think they should be just as affordable as a semi-auto, but they're over freaking rated.
I bought one in 1988. I bought an AK-47. It was $350, and I lived in California of all places when I bought it. And then in '92, I sold it for $2,300. That was just a span of 4 years, and a lull happened in between. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I shot it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's look. I mean, was it now? I mean, are they allowed? I mean, because all these fully autos out there are old machine guns. Are they allowed to make and sell new machine guns here? I know that law is something.
That's where you want your FFL. If you have an FFL, you can have a brand new production machine gun. If you don't have an FFL, then you're limited to buying those that are made prior to a certain date in 1986.
Oh, okay.
So you have the person go, well, I don't want that old machine gun. I want a brand new one. Then go get your FFL and your SOT. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, then you ain't going to go rent one. Well, I don't want to do that either. Then shut the hell up.
There's a lot easier way of getting a machine gun. You just have to sign your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, long time period.
And then you get to shoot a couple times and do other things.
You'll get tired of carrying them.
Yeah, Vanessa Kitty here says a range where she's at lets you use a full auto on the range on your birthday. Yeah. So, all right. I have another question. If everybody want to move on or we keep on talking about this. This is, hang on, where is it? What in the hell? Oh, yeah, here you go. I got this one from Sabrina. Are there anything that you think should be regulated for people who shoot with disabilities? I mean, any special thing that we,
What was the question? Can you repeat it?
It was, are there things that you think should be better regulated for people who shoot with disabilities? Now you got to remember, Sabrina lives in the Netherlands. So she's learning, what we do here in the United States, basically.
Well, back to what Squib said, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. I don't think anything should be regulated, and if you're capable of handling it, you're capable of handling it.
Yeah.
I was about to say it. I'd like to try and make the argument. Obviously, I think we're all in the same boat of, nothing should be regulated, but obviously things are. And I would like to make the argument that if you've got a disability, there should be things that are deregulated so you can enjoy the shooting sports more. Like Patriot and I, our hearing is incredible now. Well, I would love to have a suppressor and not have to pay a tax stamp or anything. And I could make the argument, well, because of my vision, my hearing's hypersensitive. So having this suppressor, would help. But
I mean, okay, here's one for you where I'm thinking is because of the American, the Disabilities Act, should all ranges have one or two lanes set up for people with disabilities, like having things lower, like a lower table, or somebody's in a wheelchair, or some indoor ranges where you have the electronic where you press the button and it sends the target down range. It's okay if you're standing up, you can reach it, but if you're in a wheelchair, you might not be able to reach it.
I don't think any of that should be regulated. That just should fit the people that go. I don't want the government telling a range that they have to have 3 tables lower and nobody ever uses them.
I think I've heard in previous chats, and whether it was Never Enough Ammo's chats or whatever, I think I've heard people describe some of their ranges that they do have, that the ranges already have those set up.
Yeah, my range has that set up, but there's only 2 lanes out of 27 lanes. So like all the women want to have, the short women want to have that range too. So normally they bump them out of that range when I get there.
I don't think I would want it to be something where if you didn't have a disability, you couldn't use it. Like you showed up to the range and every station was full except those 2 down at the end. So, well, what about those 2? Oh, well, those are reserved. You can't use them because what if a disabled person shows up? Or, well, yeah, but we can't reconfigure them so that if you're not disabled, you can use it comfortably. I mean, I like the fact that at my range, they added parking at the 10-yard line for disabled people. They didn't add more disabled spaces out in the main parking lot. If anything, they freed up spaces by getting rid of those and putting a drive right up to their 10-yard line. And the only way you can park there legally is if you have the handicap placard on your car and your plate or whatever. I thought that was great. If they were to add more spaces in the main parking lot and reduce the number of parking, or to make certain spots handicap only and nobody else can use them unless that wouldn't be right, because it's like how many times you go to the grocery store and they've got like, I don't know, 25 freaking handicap parking spaces and they're all empty, and it's like, hey man, what the heck? But code says the number of spots you've got, you have to have so many, and it's just like they're not using them. So that's when it gets a little bit.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from there, but when I became handicapped or disabled, I loved having those 25 empty spaces to pull into. Now, when I go to my Walmart here in Jasper, Indiana, God damn, they have over 25 handicap spots, and every one of them's full.
Yeah, same here. For me, it's about being able to get out of my car without somebody parking on the door. I could care less if it was 100 yards away, but for me to be able to open my door, get in and out of my car without somebody parking on my door where I can't even approach my car. I had a lady, 80-year-old lady, she just parked in that blue area right next to the handicap area, and she wasn't even handicapped. She parked right on my door within 6 inches.
She should have been towed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
I would have towed her ass. Excuse my French.
A lot of places are private plazas, so at least in New York State. So if somebody runs one of them red, stop signs and hit you, it doesn't matter. It's not a crime. Nobody's going to get ticketed. It's just an accident. So don't get ran over in a parking lot. I'll put it that way. But so a lot of the handicaps don't apply. New York State is that way. So if it's a private plaza, they can't do anything. So you can run all the stop signs you want. You can do whatever you want. Police can try to harass you, but if you know the law, there's nothing they can do about it. So, so parking lots are very risky in some states. So I'll just put that out there.
Oh, back to what we were talking about. Vanessa Kitty said the newest ranges I have found are set up for people for wheelchairs and stuff like that. Now, are they doing it because they want to, or does the law say they have to? Is what I'm trying to find out.
I'm not on board with the law saying that they have to, but I would like to see more ranges just consider those things. Like the one indoor range near me, one of the things I was thinking about was they've got the buttons, and you can send the target out to like 25 yards. And I was thinking to myself, while I had my uncle helping me while we're there the one day, is how great would it be if they just had a little speaker there that says 10 yards, 15 yards, and so on and so forth. So I know exactly where I'm putting that target, and I don't need, somebody there watching over my shoulder to tell me, all right, it's at the, 15-yard mark.
I could see the state grandfathering in older ranges and saying, unless you remodel, you make an addition, you don't have to make any changes. But if you're from this day forward, any ranges built have to comply with this standard due to ADA or something like that. The spaces that were put at the 10-yard line, the concrete ramp driving up there and all the spaces put in were paid for by the NRA, the evil NRA. So, for all you people that think that they don't do anything good, think again.
Oh, and Rick, that indoor range I was just talking about, I just remembered because I remember mentioning it before, and I had said that they don't have any wheelchair access because they got 3 steps down. There's no ramp or anything. Then for some reason it just clicked with me. They still have to have an emergency exit to the outside, and that actually could allow a chair-bound person in because there's no steps or anything. So
yeah,
in case anybody, you go to your local indoor range or something like that, and you're like, oh, well, they don't have a ramp. Well, chances are it's in a completely separate building of its own. So they're going to have some sort of emergency exit, and that might be your way in if you ever run into that.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I was down in Florida on a vacation seeing my sons, and this was before I had my hip surgery, and I couldn't even walk. My hip was that bad, and I had to use a scooter. That's one of the reasons why I got it, besides my back. But we were going, I kind of trying to think where we were going. Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't do with shooting. But this is on what you're saying. But they wanted to go to it was an indoor go-kart racing circuit, and I was in the scooter. I had to go around the side of the building to get in through a special entrance. I couldn't get in. I mean, there was no way for a handicap to get up the stairs to get in. So that's what I'm saying is I went. I think I went out through the escape entrance or whatever, the fire exit, to get in. So I just want to say, but there's ways to doing it,
I can personally tell you, I've been through 80 or 90 elevators that they put the kegs in, and little crappy, stinky elevators that smell like beer, and because going straight up to the bar, especially when you're at the beach, all the bars and restaurants are on stilts. There's still an elevator shaft taking all the food up to the kitchen, so you can see how clean a kitchen is real quick when you go up that elevator.
Yeah, and I noticed that when I was down in Europe, we went to the mall because they wanted to do some shopping. So I'm buzzing around the mall on this scooter. But if you wanted to go upstairs on these apartment stores, you had to go to the back of the store, and you shouldn't get in some dingy, dirty elevator to go up to the next floor. So I understand where you're coming from.
I think that brings up a really good thing. When you show up at these places, if as long as you got a good attitude and you're positive and you're not grumpy and trying to be a jerk about stuff, a lot of people are going to help you out. They're going to figure out, hey, well, shoot, we just moved this over here or whatever. So, if you have that attitude that, it's not a big deal, and you keep a positive attitude, sometimes it rubs off. Some people are still jerks or whatever, but
yeah. You're going to get jerks all the time, no matter what,
But Patriot, you got to understand, when you go to that restaurant, if you don't have an able-bodied person to go up into the restaurant to talk to the manager, and then them come down in the elevator and get you, you're shit out of luck. I mean, and same when I travel abroad, when I'm over in Macau or Hong Kong or Taiwan, first thing they say is, "Who's with you?" I mean, when I'm traveling alone, they're just freaked out, like, you're alone, but it happens all the time.
And that's really important too, because that's one of the things that I went totally blind. The the way of calling places and getting, information. Because if you're walking to some place, for me, I got to know if there's steps or the doors, inset or whatever, there's planners outside, so asking questions, that's a big part of, I know with a visual impairment, I call ahead, to do my, my due diligence. So I understand that, hey, there's, most people say, oh, the door's on the front, but, they might not understand that, there's a couple planners or whatever that you got to go, it's the third one or whatever. So it's good to, for me, that's how I pretty much do any of it. I call ahead and kind of get, walk through it, with somebody that works there. But yeah, I totally understand, especially the travel and foreign stuff. A lot of them you can't get a hold of.
All right.
People ahead of time.
Well, our hour is up. That went by fast. Normally when we have good stuff, it does go by fast. So I still got plenty of questions left on these 2 sheets. Only used 2 of them. So, but if anybody's got any questions, email them to me and I'll add them to my list here.
Also, let me know, Rick, who sends those in for the first 10.
Oh yes, I got to give you you got the first one with Sabrina.
Yep.
And the second one, I got to remember who it was now. Oh, Guns and Barbecue.
Okay.
What's the name? Oh, also, I got a bone to pick. But not anybody here on the panel with one of my esteemed subscribers. I won't say anything, but he won the quiz last week. His initials are JBP. I fill out the envelope, put his address on there. I'm ready to go. I get an email today. He goes, oh, by the way, here's my new address. That's how you SOB. So I had to I had to waste the whole envelope. There we go.
Put a bill for an envelope in it.
Oh, Angelina's here. How you doing? So anyway, let me go through the panel here since we're closing down with any plugs or shout outs. Who we got? Hang on. Which is all going wrong on me here. New York Outcast.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody.
All right.
Hey, Rick, before we do plugs and shout outs, you going to tell everybody what the trivia question is again for this week?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. You're right. I forgot all about that. Yeah. For Saturday's quiz, for the swag pack, get your thing into me by noon Saturday, Eastern time, the only time zone that matters. What I want to know is, in the movie Minority Report, what handgun did Tom Cruise use? So, what was he? Chief John Anderton? Was that how you pronounce his name in the thing? Played by Tom Cruise?
Correct.
Minority Report. I want to know what gun he used. What handgun he used. That is the question. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I'm doing pretty good, Angela. I'm glad to see you. Okay. We done New York Outcast, didn't we? Yeah. Squibload. Any shout outs or plugs? Yeah. Okay. No, I guess. Okay. Patriot in the Dark.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rick. Appreciate it. It was a good show. And yeah, if you have any further questions or whatever, you can email me.
Yeah. And if you guys got any questions, just general questions for the Saturday chat, you can email me those at the same addresses too. All right, who we got next? Guns and Barbecue. Any plugs or shout outs?
Just thanks for having me as always. I appreciate it.
No problem. I appreciate you being here. And the one and only Kingpin.
I'd like to plug Angelina at AlanAnchor.com. Go check out AlanAnchor.com for all your Pro 2A swag needs.
Absolutely. And Alan Anchor has helped me out before with a swag to give away from my contest. And, you know, she's pretty good like that. So, all right, who's next? John Z.
Hey, thanks for letting me hop on. It's good to hear everybody. I'm sorry I've been so AWOL. But that's just life and it happens. But it's good to hear everybody. And I always catch everybody on the replay if I can't catch you live.
All right. Appreciate you being here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, the John Z Project. Yep. I remember when you started out. It was just me and you. So, all right. Then we got Willed and Well Armed. Any plugs or shout outs?
Yes. Thank you, Rick, for having me tonight. And I do have I've been working on my story, how I became a quadriplegic, and that comes out tomorrow night at 6:00 Eastern.
Okay.
And I also got my patches in today. So I got the blue and white and green and black Wheeled and Well Armed patch. So those will be for sale. $5 including shipping. And those are Velcro patches.
All right. That's good. All right. I want to say thank you to everybody who was in the chat tonight. I really appreciate you stopping by. Makes it all worthwhile. And I do try to read everything you type in there and bring it into the chat. But as I said last week, we got some long-winded people in here. And it's hard to get, it's hard for, once I shut up, it's hard for me to get anything back in here. All right. I want to say thank you. And I will see you all on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters. So, good night, everybody. See you later.
Good night, Sabrina.